Hello people, and welcome back to part 42 of the Noobs Guide to City Skylines. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the love and support during the sewage treatment plant build. You guys really enjoyed this, and a lot of love for our little S-bridge interchange here with now with its lame mathematics in is flowing like a dream, and a really cool design, something a bit different, isn't it? So thank you for all the support. And we did mention last episode that we're just going to jump across the road this week to work on this space here, which kind of sits a little bit awkwardly at the minute. And this is a tile boundary. You can see where the map used to end here. And we've talked about how we break awkward tile boundaries before. When we did this episode, you can see this road here on the lateral line used to be where the tile boundary was, and then we opened it all out to make it breathe a little bit more as we came into the next tile, of course. So we need to do some kind of similar work here today as well with the rail networks. But should be a fun little build, this one. We're going to be building a transport hub today. Really kind of points of mass convergence of public transport. So lots of fun, lots of walkability, I hope, as well. So let's talk about how we can build a transport hub in Vanilla City Skylines. Alright guys, so we've prepared the space here with a little bit of terraforming, and then we've also taken away the trees and then just extended the train line so it sinks into the landmass here as elevation comes back in. Again, just so it kind of breaks that very obvious tile boundary here now, looks a little bit more organic. And then let's start talking about transport hubs. So really fun things to build, sort of mass convergence of where people can change different methods of public transport, come into the city. Just very fun to put together. So let's analyse what we've got here. We can see we have a monorail line, and obviously trains are fairly obvious. And we're also really close to a highway as well, so intercity buses are an option. So I think that's going to be quite a good mix. We've also got metro over here as well, I believe. Yes, there's a metro station here. And all of these networks feed right through the heart of the city, especially this monorail line. You can follow this all the way through, and it just keeps going all the way right into the downtown. So this is going to be a really good spot for a public transport hub. And then of course there's the metro and the trains on top of that as well. So let's come in with some roads, and we're just going to start out with some basic 2 lanes here as a sort of initial holding frame for us. So let's start piecing together where we would like a transport hub asset to sit. I think I'm going to go for the metro monorail train hub. That's literally all things that we need, so we can't really complain about that one. That's perfect. Go ahead and just adjust this frame a little bit so we can put our asset down. And that's going to start giving us some large sort of transport vibes even from this road here now as well, isn't it? I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to be enjoying that aesthetic, I think. It blends quite nice with the cargo hub. Very nice, wonderful. So we're definitely going to be using some pedestrian roads around here today. In fact, this probably will end up becoming pedestrian road. So with that in mind, I'd actually like to factor in an access point or an area for the service point to sit. So let's go ahead and start bringing down some frames here. Let's actually go ahead and switch to pedestrian road. And then we'll just start constructing that sort of outer frame of the transport hub. So I'm going to go with some bus-only roads. And it looks like, yes, we can centralise right outside the station. And then we'll come out this side again as well. So that gives us some zoning opportunities, also some pathway opportunities too. I do want lots of pathway here today. Right, but that's not too bad. Go ahead and box that off. Cool. And then I think we're just going to head and throw the service point, almost like to function as some sort of office space on the entrance into the transport hub. And then we can paint out this pedestrian area roughly where we need it for right now. I know I'm going to want a road coming through here too. Then there'll be some sorts of zonings knocking about, I imagine, over here. Lots of parkland today, I want to, I imagine. It's going to be quite nice. So I'm going to go ahead and hook in the monorail, trains and underground metro, and then we can come back and have a look at some bus infrastructure around this kind of central plaza space that's starting to develop. Alright guys, so our transport hub is getting 167 a week now with all the lines hooked into it, and some tourists chilling out here as well, waiting for intercity trains on both platforms, which is nice to see. So yes, they should remain nice and busy. Unfortunately, because it has underground metro hooked into it, we might not actually see that many people coming out of it, which is a little bit of a shame with these transport hubs. So if that's the case, I might actually end up just switching it out for a separate underground metro asset. We'll just sort of see what happens with it as it goes. But let's have a look at some bus stuff. So I do want intercity buses in the area. And there's a highway right here, which is a great point for them to enter this transport hub. Otherwise, they have to come from this interchange over here, or these two, or indeed come through the start of the city over this side and then get on the bridge and come into town. So it's a bit of a ball ache for them. So let's build them a new interchange. So it's coming with some terraforming because we can see we're playing with some embanked layers here. Looks like this is going to be a good point for the road to connect, isn't it? Let's go ahead and delete this. So about there should be okay. Grab the height of this road and then we'll just push that terrain through. So we'll just use a really simple sort of like slip lane system here. Super easy service interchange to put together. I hope you are enjoying the different sort of service interchanges that we use in. They're very sort of customizable and you can sort of adapt their shape and their different slip lane positions for your different sort of awkward road networks. I hope you're finding them useful. But either way, let's bring this through here. So we're just going to come straight through on an angle and make sure we're at 90 degrees. That's tremendous. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our highway roads. 3-lane ones come down to low elevation and they want to snap to a road guideline of the straight piece of highway, which is pretty much here. So let's go ahead and slope this now as well, because this is on a slightly harsher elevation. And then cross the road by 1680. Seems like it's going to be fair enough. Go. Lock that in. Bring that one back down to it at the same time. Allow it to go straight up. And then we can just arrange our connections to come back down this way, which come back down to Earth at a cost of 1280. Let's connect in there. Then that'll be a good point for our highway slip ramps to come off of. There we go. Oops. Everyone configured and everyone's happy. Cool. So once we've got the bridges in over the arterial road, let's come ahead and do a bit of slope work. So we want to slope up to probably here. Just do that from the bottom of the road. There we go. Same again on this side. Let's get a nice slope up. Lots of room for those slip roads to come down. And the same again here. Just create a little sort of smoother slope if we can. Just up to about there. Then we'll grab our highway ramps first of all. Well, first of all, we also want to grab a 2-lane one-way road. Actually, I guess we could use a 3-lane now, couldn't we? Because we have it in vanilla. It would help with sort of turning lanes, I guess. But either way, we're going to come out with no road guideline. Let's just go out by 1280 on either side, and we're what, 3 tiles away from the bridge there. We'll try and respect some sort of symmetry if we can. Let's go our highway roads, and then we know this one's going to come up, and then this one really doesn't need to sort of be symmetric. You can use the curve of the highway here to get some nice sort of flowy slip ramps coming up onto the highway. Something like that, and then we'll sort of mimic that exit there. And then come down here. It's going to do us there. This one can come up the other side. So that'll just give us a really basic sort of slip system for the highway. Again, we can decorate this during our time lapse. Perhaps a little bit of soften around all the terrain work as well would be welcome. So everything's settling a little bit, well, that's a little bit steep there, isn't it? That will just smooth it out a little bit, but we can do that later. At least it just flows for right now. Cool, and again that can go off now and maybe hook in with that road and join the wider country network that's starting to develop over this side of the map. But it gives us a really basic slip system, okay. Nice way for cars to get on off the highway. Very nice, and then we can come down here. So we could use some of the new bus roads here, especially on the highway. I just want to see how many intercity buses come down here first. So let's now turn our attention to that bus infrastructure. So yes, we want to be using the large cobblestone variants today. We're going to have a big bus road that comes straight down here. This will be a way in and out for our bus friends. I want to smooth that out too. But definitely want a intercity station in here too. So I think just a regular intercity bus station is going to be a good shout for bringing in a lot of tourists into this particular transport hub. Alongside the trains as well, don't forget. There are intercity trains knocking about now, up to 86 so far. Yes, had just broke the connection on the rail as well, so the cargo trains use the other platform to go straight ahead. Because they're going to this cargo train station over here with a little bridge. Very cute now. I love this side of the city. We don't spend enough time over here. Alright, wonderful. So coming together so far. I'm going to have some intercity bus action coming in. I really just want to see how people start to sort of move around this area. So I want to create sort of a nice sort of focal point in the middle here. Lots of parks, plazas, pathways, walkability, etc. because there's going to be lots of tourists and people coming out of the transport hub, so we want to sort of capitalise on that if we can. So over here we did actually use an elevated zoo pathway, which I'm actually going to upgrade into the liberal arts pathway, because they're going to work really nicely with bus roads. So we're going to extend this elevated pathway over the rails. Let's see, can we bring it down? I sort of want to be not too high here. So we can bring it over at that height. That's going to be 3 elevation points up. And this monorail line here isn't going to go anywhere. There's going to be no expanded monorail here, so I don't need to worry about blocking that off. I think I will just bring it down to a slightly smaller elevation here as we cut through on an angle snap under the monorail. And we might as well mimic this as well just for the symmetry, so we'll do 84 again this side with the road length on. There we go, and then down by 2, and then we can come under. Okay, and there's some detail opportunities here, little gardens, etc. under the monorail line. That should give us a really fun point of walkability, and I'd also like to extend lots of elevated pathways out of the transport hub itself as well. Alright, so things are getting happy now. The transport hub is pouring in about 525 a week, and that sounds like a lot, and it is, but you can't really see them because they're all staying inside the station to change onto the metro, which is a little bit annoying. As I say that, sims start pouring out of the station, of course, but there could be a lot more here, so we'll keep our eye on that possible external separate metro station, just for the walkability porn, of course. So let's talk about bringing in some more public transport. So far we have trains, underground metro, monorail and intercity bus. I would now like to start bringing in trams and buses as well. So let's come in with some tram road first of all. Now we do have trams in the Jennifer Cox Garden. This is where the line terminates and then backs onto itself. So where the tram road comes out of the park, I'm just going to start upgrading this into tram road, and then we'll come down the arterial again with tram road, just past the forestry stuff. And then you're going to need to enter the park here somewhere, so probably coming back down to that 2-lane road with tram tracks on, so a good shot here. Get a little descent. That's going to give us some nice layers, some nice parallel public transport as well. Now I don't just want this to join the road here, I think we can generate quite a nice pattern if we grab a tram only track and then feed it through the middle of this plaza here, where we'll also have buses coming through, which would be nice. I do want to make sure actually we can still put a bus stop here. Yes we can, that's actually quite handy. Then we'll go to the tram road again. Let's go ahead and find it, so there we go. And then we'll bring this out by 260, and then we'll just do almost like a little sort of tram teardrop, if you like. Just a little curvy sort of one-way network. Perhaps passes up and alongside the city stops, and then feeds back in. Okay, and then we can decorate this up as well with sort of the little pergola stands and different detailing options that we've got available to us now. Otherwise that should be wonderful, and then this can just stay separate until it crosses this road network here, which we will find out what's happening with this now. So it'd be good if you come down there, and then if the 2-lane tram road would connect in at an angle. Looks like that's going to be about the best we can afford. And then just by separating the tram road out like this, we're going to give ourselves some very tasteful green belt spaces that can be detailed at a later date. Let's make sure we're hitting a road guideline as we come back in here with the curve road tool. And we want to go for that one there. Cool. Then the tram will cross over. And then this road can hold something perhaps. I guess we'll see what sort of sits down here. Haven't really come to that yet. Oh, let's go ahead and get the tram flowing anyway. We'll go ahead and grab it out of the garden. So rather than removing the kind of garden turnaround, I think we're going to drag the stop into the transport hub so it can stop here. Right, and then it can also stop. I guess it'd be nice if it stopped within the squares itself, wouldn't it? Let's do that instead, and then we can remove that stop. That can just be the turnaround. And then back where it leaves here. So there is 2 stops here, so it's already stopping within this suburb before it enters the park. And then on its way back into the suburb, it will stop here again as well. So it's fairly close and converged. So we just really need to add a couple of stops along this main road. It should be okay. And then maybe one more as we come into the hub here. That should be okay. Then they can get to this side of the suburb if they want. Cool, so let's wait for the trams to turn up, and then we'll start doing some bus lines as well. Alright everyone, so the walking pawn is starting to develop now, which is just so tasty. All the tourists arriving. People picking the trams back up into the city as well. Just so much convergence, you can basically reach any point of the city here just by coming to this transport hub so far. It's all quite condensed as well, there's a lot of convergence here in a very small space. Wonderful, so let's talk about some buses. I'm going to go ahead and throw down a new bus depot because I just want the buses to come out nearby to here. So we'll have the Balfour bus depot, and this actually might be a good shout to use over here somewhere, maybe a little bit more of a admin side of the transport hub if you like. Maybe the service point can be shifted down here as well. But either way, let's start drawing in some bus lines. So I would like them stopping and using these little roads here. So let's have one stop here. It can then come down our main bus avenue before joining up with the rest of the network here. It can just come down this road, meet up with some industry stuff down here, converge again with the monorail line. Before it comes into an intercity bus station, which is hooked into buses that go all the way down towards the stadium over there. So again, that's lots of nice convergence. And then it can mimic its stops as it comes back down this main road before passing back into the transport hub to complete its stop. And then we'll start a new bus line here. We'll use this opposite side this time so it kind of looks a little bit staggered. And then you will come up and out here as well, stopping on the same bit of road. This time you will meander back out of here and come through this suburb. Again, we can meet with a metro stop here, that's going to be wonderful. And then we'll just catch a lot of these suburban frames with bus line. The tram is over here again as well. So satisfying when all this starts coming together. You don't really get to this stage until the late game in cities, where you can just sort of play with so much new sort of transport infrastructure. It's really fun when you get all this convergence coming in. Cool, so that should be one more. And then where else could we do with the bus line here, I wonder? It looks like maybe we could have one coming down this way and serving these areas. We don't really have much public transport in these frames, so I think that's probably going to be a good shout. Let's go ahead and do that. So again, we'll have this one stop this side. And then it can come all the way down here, stopping at the bridge. And then big run into the suburb where there's another bus station here actually, isn't there? Yes, there is. Okay, let's do that then. So we want to come through the suburb. We'll stop in town by all this walking infrastructure. Come down the main road, and then we're going to come into the bus stop. And then we're going to retreat down the pathway we came back out of the town. So this should be a really busy bit of bus infrastructure, we hope. We're going to find out together. And then I'd also like one more bus line, which is kind of like a long haul, all the way back to the ferry depot over in the rural part of the map. So that's just like a nice little long haul bus line, same as this black one is doing. You can see it comes all the way from that side into this transport hub. We're just repeating that same process with this bus line. And then we'll have it over here. So we could add some in here, couldn't we? I kind of want them on the bus roads though. Yeah, that's why I'm using them. Yeah. So we'll just complete that bus line there as well. Cool. So we're going to let the game run for a little bit, and then we can see all these buses coming and going, and then see what we're like for convergence. And then we can have a look at some further asset placements, a little bit of zoning, and then some detailing, which is always fun for these sorts of places. So we'll be right back. And if you are enjoying the episode, guys, and would like to show some support and get something cool in return, why not have a look at some Overcharged Egg merchandise, which is linked down below, including canvases of your favourite Skylines, some bottles and t-shirts. Go check it out, it really helps support the channel. So this is coming along super nicely. All the buses have staggered out across their lines now. They're all getting plenty of use as well, which is nice to see. Went over here, changed up a few of the models and a few of the colours too, so it wasn't all just kind of generic blue bus number 4, if you like. But yeah, really kind of happy transport hub vibes at the minute. It's been tremendously well. What we'd like to do is increase the visitability, I guess, of this area, and we do have a sunken plaza shopping mall from plazas and promenades that we haven't used yet. And this asset is kind of like sort of white and grey in this sort of like wood slats. It actually blends very well with this monorail train metro hub. It's kind of the same vibe. It's like wood on it, kind of like a modern minimalistic, sort of very clean finish to it. I think it's going to blend quite well. So I'm going to have that in over there. And then furthermore to that, I do kind of want to round out the pedestrian area now. I don't want this whole area pedestrianised. So let's bring in some frames. Again, I'm going to be sticking to a small cobblestone. I want to provide a wrap around that building there, and then I want roads to come back in now. And what we'll do is just surround this with some generic residential zoning now, just to satisfy a little bit of demand and give a little bit of surround to this kind of main central transport hub entertainment district, if you like. And then this pedestrian road here. It'd be good if you could actually come up and wrap around there too, and that gives us some nice 4x4 opportunities there for perhaps some wall-to-wall commercial, and probably a little bit of wall-to-wall residential in here as well. So let's go ahead and get those commercial zonings coming in. Then I'd also like a little bit of commercial space in here too. So just been playing off camera with the idea of including this new metro station in here. I don't think I can refuse it, because it's going to force people out of that station to kind of walk across the road here, which is really what I want. It's really going to kind of exaggerate the walking pun, if you like. Some nice stats on the public transport here as well. Metro is particularly busy. Monorail is very busy as well, which is nice. Yeah, very cool. Nice public transport, easily one of the most fun things about this game. So yeah, I think I am just going to knock the metro onto this one. We could actually, this one has 2 platforms, so we could actually bring off another one here. I don't really know where we'd need one though. We don't really want metro in the countryside. I guess we could bring it down here. Onto this waterfront, whatever this ends up being. Yeah, don't know. But I just want to see people walk. So we're going to do it. Go ahead and just change this connection onto the new station, and then we'll move the line over. Okay, so there we go. We've officially moved that metro line that goes essentially to the Eggsy School of the Gifted. It terminates here, doesn't it? Yes, this is the end of it. Oh no, it goes into the downtown now, doesn't it? It comes in the underground stop, which is here somewhere. There, it's there, isn't it? Yeah, 420 in this tiny little metro stop here. So again, it's just you can get to downtown from here on that metro line too, alongside the monorail line. There we go. Now they're all coming out. That's what we like. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now let's see how these zonings are developing here. Starting to get some stuff in, which isn't too bad. Let's go ahead and just time-lapse up a little suburban road frame sort of filler here to get these spaces all sort of wrapped up. This is all coming together quite slowly yet tastefully. I'm really happy with this sort of configuration so far. It's really fun building a proper transport hub with all the pedestrian roads for the first time. Just so much more sort of accentuated walkability, isn't there? Don't enjoy how this sort of blends though. That's quite annoying. Is that just because we're using a different type of cobblestone road? Is that not this one? No, it isn't. Yeah, but the texture doesn't blend anyway. Okay, yeah, let's make sure we are cobblestone around here actually. Don't want the other one. Okay, but not too bad. We'll just sit here and watch this forever, couldn't we? This is what it's all about. This is why I play this game every week. It's for this. All the little people walking around, milling about. Yes, please. What's a convergence? Anyone using this pathway? Not really. This is actually really quiet considering. I guess it's only really industry workers that need to get over here though. If they need to head further down, then the buses are here, which is already pretty big. You might need to change that model. There's a fair amount of people using that bus, converging with the monorail too. Yeah, let's have a little look at this bus line together actually. Do you need to be bigger? Oh my goodness, yes you do. Extremely busy bus line. Okay, let's go for the super bendy boy then. Lots of people wanting to use the buses, which is great. Probably will also upgrade a lot of these roads around here into some sort of bus road as well. I don't really notice a massive difference using the bus infrastructure, but you can use it if you like, I guess. Let's come ahead with a upgrade through here. That one, the train bridge is in the way, isn't it? We'll have to do that off camera. And then yes, carry on up here. We could also use the new 6-lane one, but it's got a tree on it. I guess we could use this one, couldn't we? There's buses coming down here. And a lot of intercity access too. I've also upgraded this road, the 4-lane one, compact with bus lanes. Just because there is a conga line of the new buses need to stagger out on the line. Lots of bus infrastructure today, which is good. And then I think there is actually, yeah, there's a bus using this road here. So why don't we make this like a bus-only express ramp? Might be quite cool to use and decorate as well. Otherwise, guys, that does feel like a good place for a detailing time-lapse. We've got kind of a main infrastructure in now. I talked about some of our unique building placements. We want to decorate up all these spaces with pathways and props, whatnot, lots of trees everywhere. I'm just going to zone up some generic low-density vanilla residential for all of these surrounding frames over here. They don't need to be sort of anything major. And then, of course, like we know, in City Skylines now, we place parks down to make everyone happy. So hopefully we can squeeze in a few park spaces here and there. There'll definitely be some assets we can squeeze in, definitely like a dog park and stuff like that. Okay. But lots of ideas to be had. Are you okay, broken bus line? Is that just because I've upgraded your road? Are you not particularly happy with that? Okay, well, I'll fix the bus lines that are broken for some reason. I'm assuming because I've upgraded their road. Maybe they'll find each other in a second. But yeah, generally beautify up and detail all these little spaces that we've got to play with, lots of trees and our favourite prop designs that we're so happy with now. But really fun things to build. The public transport hub's just a mass convergence of people and all this walkability, and very fun to detail, as we're about to find out. Lots of people waiting for trains here too. I've just realised we could also do a train line over to Francis as well, because it's all hooked into the intercity system. That comes through this way. But anyway, that's a job for another day. Yep, let's detail up the New York Transport Hub. Then we'll be right back. guys, let's have a detailed review, shall we? Unfortunately, during my recording, I had recorded a fair chunk of the detailing and forgot to hit record. So it's gone, but we'll review it anyway. So in this space in the triangle, the junction of the roads, we've actually positioned two of the plazas and promenades fountains to kind of function as a little heart entranceway, which is super cute. You could do like a little Valentine's park out of this. Huge fan of that design, and then just some pathways and tree patterns in the space to fill it up before we come into the mass zoned low density residential which occupies this space. And then as we come into the transport hub itself, we're met with some carefully chosen commercial zoning. Lots of nice happy little green belt patterns knocking about, really simple, just bushes, hedges and live oaks. And then actually switched out the middle road for a pedestrian road just because I wasn't really using that other tram road, and then we did end up drawing in another another bus connection, over here directly out front of the station. So yeah, it's just a really super happy little transport hub. We've got two intercity connections from train and buses over here. Monorail, metro, trams and 4 bus lines all meeting at this one square. So super busy, super walkable. We'll have a look at some of the stats hopefully. They're pretty impressive. 263 on the underground metro, and then 175 this week through that one, and then 35 through the intercity. So not the biggest numbers, but it's definitely busier than that. There we go, just jumped up to 263 now. So hopefully, you know, it's just going to keep getting busier, and it's just super cute. This is why I play the game, isn't it? It's just so nice. Love walkability, especially areas. Plazas and promenades makes a huge difference to transport hubs. So if you do have the DLC, then consider including it in them. And then around here, again, we just zoned up some park assets just to help increase land value, keep everyone around here serviced and happy and fed and whatnot, and then it all comes back into these road frames. Also thrown in the taxi depot alongside the bus depot and the service point just to the opposite end of the suburb here. Just as a little bit of kind of industrial service, if you like, as the tram road comes up here, which is really cool. Then plenty of little prop details in and around this central tram space, which turned out really nicely. Amusement park assets in here too. And just what a wonderful little corner this is for vanilla, right? You know, if you just kind of take this as like a little sort of diorama, if you like, for a vanilla corner, this is really cool now. The vanilla game is becoming significantly more powerful, everyone, with what we can do with all the updates and stuff and DLCs. It's a very exciting time to be a vanilla player, I think. Oh, yes, there we go. So much walking. Just the best. Wonderful news. And then this central strip out of town just is flanked with commercial, and there's also a police station in here now as well, though it's in the shade so you can't really see it. There's the back of it anyway. And then we blended in our heavy kind of rail network with lots of sort of wild hedge overgrowth and fence patterns to keep people off of the tracks, but super overgrown, just super wild. Nothing's built here, nothing's walkable. Do allow some space for these types of areas in the city as well. And we'll have a brief slice of just about nighttime together. Just super cool. Just love how this sits within the city, and a really nice integration of networks that were already here. You know, we had the highway, which we built ourselves a couple of episodes ago, and then we had the monorail and the trains and the metro, so it felt like a natural point for a transport hub, if that makes sense. And that's really kind of the theme of your transport hubs. Same process here, even though it's not kind of a dedicated transport hub area, the same processes are still applying. You know, it's multiple sort of spots of convergence for major networks, and where it's appropriate. You know, train lines are passing here, great, we can get them to stop. Monorail also comes by alongside buses through this space as well. So just looking out for spots in the city where these sorts of networks pass by each other can be really helpful in sort of establishing exactly when and where to build sort of major transport hubs within your vanilla cities. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this. A really cute, compact, super busy little transport hub with lots of different variations of public transport in here. And of course, they're so flexible, not only in terms of what public transport you include within a major hub, but also the shape and the size and the assets included, the theme you can take them in. Just super flexible builds. And they work everywhere. You can put them in sort of suburban spaces, rural, right in the heart of your downtown. You can base your entire downtown around one of these transport facilities. They're really fun to play with, so go into your city and have fun. Please do enjoy the cinematics, of course, but otherwise I will shut up and I will leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.